Hi, it's Dr. Rogini. So today we'll be talking about energetic capacity and as well as pranic life force energy. So we're all born with certain amount of energetic capacity. So we all have different amount of capacity. So meaning that how much we can handle in this lifetime. Okay. And depending on our karma, personal karma, ancestral karma, energetic capacity is different for each individual. So it doesn't matter how big you are, how small you are, how tall you are. So you can be tall and big and have a smaller amount of energetic capacity, and you can be small and tiny and have a big energetic capacity. So how do you expand the energetic? And we're going to talk about how to expand the energetic capacity, recognizing what's not letting you to expand your capacity, as well as how to increase your pranic life force energy. Because depending on how big your capacity, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of an analogy here. So let's say your capacity is this big, and this is how much life force energy you have inside of there. Let's say you use up all that life force energy, your capacity is still there, but once you fully use up, you burn out. Okay, so you have to also remember how to increase the life force energy to keep up in that capacity. But now we're going to go a little further. I'm going to teach you how to expand that capacity as well as increase that life force energy. Okay, so what happens is as we increase our life force energy, the capacity is going to be pushed out. Okay, so there are certain yogic techniques that we have, yogis have taught over the thousands of years to increase that pranic life force energy so you can increase capacity as well. And it has to be done gradually. It shouldn't be done fast enough because it can shock our system. It's like right away, before you learn how to swim and you go into the deep end, you can drown yourself. So you have to do it gradually. Okay? And if you watch my old videos, you'll understand most of those videos are all about increasing your capacity and increasing your life force energy. They all talk indirectly. I'm not talking about directly about life force energy, but they all support this concept. Okay? So over the last 20 years, I've been working in the scientific field. So I'm a chiropractor, and I've done a lot of studying in anatomy, in neuroscience, in biology, in all that scientific aspect. But then my curiosity went beyond that. I wanted to understand how the energetic system worked and how are people operating differently. So because the reason why the curiosity started expanding, because I started seeing pattern in my practice where certain patients attract to certain conditions and certain patients attract to different kind of conditions, and they all have different mental processes, like how they process things, their thought process, and the way they think of themselves. Okay, so I started noticing the difference in what they would manifest compared to the one who was very confident, very clear-minded, very decisive, and to one who's undecisive all the time. So you see the difference in their personality and what they're manifesting. But when you go deep into their energetic systems, you can find a lot of resistance in their energy. So I can pick up on those energies when you have a lot of resistance that slows the movement of chi within yourself or pranic life force energy. Okay, we all have access to that infinite amount of life force energy that's always there. It all depends on how much karma we have, we hold on to. That life force energy is limited. Okay, so the more we expand, the more we clear our channels, we can harness more of that life force energy. So, So the most interesting part is when I dived deep in within myself. So I did a lot of, I'm still do a lot of meditation. I spent a lot of hours within myself and tap into different parts of me. I also spent a lot of time with gurus and yogis to clear my channel and to increase my self-awareness and also awareness of the surrounding. Through that, I was able to shift and clear a lot of these mental blockages, thought processes that not serving me as well, but it's also not serving for the human evolution. Okay, and so what I'm going to talk about is, so one thing I was talking about how we have our energetic capacity, we bring in based on our ancestor karma or individual karma, right? But also individual karma also in this lifetime, not just previous lifetimes, but in this lifetime. So we also have a lot of unconscious habits. So these unconscious habits are the ones that affects our capacity level, that affects our pranic life force energy, how much we can hold on to. Okay, so what I'm going to talk here about is a little bit about before that, you know what, I want to say the think about like an electronic equipment, right? So an electronic equipment, certain equipments can only handle a certain amount of voltage. I'm not an electrician, so I'm trying to kind of give an example. And if you take the electronic equipment and to another country that has a higher amount of voltage, it will burn that equipment. Same thing with our body. If you're trying to bring in more life, more stress to our system, more electrical input into our system, and our body is not ready to handle it, it will start to destroy our system. Okay, so this is why it's important we gradually expand, we recognize our limitations. So if your limitations are pretty stuck, so the limitations are basically your mental thought process, okay, mental habits. Those are the huge ones. So if you still have these old habits of worrying all the time, you have a lot of fear, anger, frustration, resentment, jealousy, all those emotions, if you hold on to that, and if you're very attached to the outcome, you have a certain amount of expectation all the time, that also stops you from expanding your capacity, which shocks your system. So let's say you do a lot of meditation and you haven't cleared your ancestral habits, thought processes, or any forms of mental limitations, that will actually shock your system. So with the meditation, with breath work, you should be able to recognize these limitations and see yourself. Oh, I'm judging myself. Oh, I'm always frustrated. I'm always angry. I'm always worrying. I'm always in denial. All these emotions are very important to recognize. It's so important to recognize them. If you do not recognize, trust me, you will experience things outside of you for you to recognize it. And sometimes it takes time for you to, because remember, whatever energy is within yourself is projected out. So it will reflect back to you and you'll learn it through that way as well. But if you're smart enough, okay, and if you're very conscious, you can start shifting that imbalances within yourself so you don't have to learn the hard way. Does that make sense? Okay. So now I'm just going to kind of share with you how to increase the life force energy. So most of you already know eating the right kind of diet that suits your body, suits your consciousness, okay? Also exercising, not overeating, especially with back to eating. You don't want to eat where your stomach is extremely full. Usually, your stomach is only this size, so you don't want to eat to the fullest, okay? So you have to know when to stop ahead of time, okay? So before it gets too full and you get very tired, because when we get tired from eating too much, you're losing pranic life force energy. And if you're eating the wrong food, your body's working hard, very hard, to create the right amount of gastric juices, to create the right amount of enzymes and all that stuff to break down your food, so you're losing your life force energy here as well. Okay, so remember we talked about your capacity is this, an example, your capacity is this big and now your life force energy is being depleted, right? So obviously food should increase your life force energy, not decrease. So eating the right kind of food that suits your body, because not every food type matches to everyone else. So you have to be very conscious. Through trial and errors, you figure out what works best for you. Okay. Sometimes somebody would suggest something, this is better for you, but you know your body more. So you got to able to test it out, eliminate certain food types, add on, and see what works best for you. There is no right or wrong. You just have to know what makes you more energized and what makes you feel more tired. For example, I can have rice, but I cannot have too much of rice. So I only have a little portion of rice. Okay. Definitely, I cannot have dairy. I'll get bloated. I don't feel well. I can't focus. My mind is distracted. So why would I put something in my body that takes away my life force energy, right? So just be very conscious. And sometimes we do tend to do things that's not serving us. That's kind of a little bit of a self-sabotaging behavior. But once you recognize it soon enough, you can eliminate that out of your practice, right? And lack of rest. So what do I mean rest? It's not the amount of sleep, because sometimes you can sleep for 8 hours and still not feel rested. And sometimes you can sleep for 5-6 hours and feel really rested. So it's not the amount of sleep, it's how deep you go into your sleep, but as well as what are you thinking before you go to sleep? How is your thought process? Are you thinking of things that's not serving you, right? Or are you watching certain movies or extra stimulating movies or reading books that's not serving you? That kind of takes you away from balancing your energetic field. So this way you can also lose your life force energy. Okay, so at the end, you always remember you want to increase your life force energy. This way you decrease yourself from manifesting chronic illnesses, disease, or any form of aches and pains, right? Or any forms of things that's not serving you. Because when your life force energy is not coming through you properly, you're going to be moody, you're not going to feel good. Your relationship with yourself is not going to be good. Your relationship with others is not going to be good. Relationship with your children, your work environment, your business, whatever that could be, it's not going to be at its 100%. So you want to make sure that you really, really take care of yourself. So you can also increase your life force energy through meditation, through deep breath work, through dancing, movement, singing, intonation. So singing, what I'm calling here is not with words, but more with sound. So as we are moving the sounds in our body, we activating different channels and releasing the blockages. So for example, if you're making a certain sound that activates the throat, it will release any blockages inside of your throat. It could be in your heart center, it could be in your solar plexus, and all the other centers of the body. So sound can really, really release all these blockages. So when you're actually doing a one-on-one session with me, typically depending on how bad and how severe the blockage is, I use sound in intonation. So I use a lot of sound healing. I'll be also using certain affirmations, but affirmations is not by just talking, but it's embodiment. So as I'm saying certain affirmation, I'll assist you to tap into your body and release the blockage within yourself. Okay. And so through this work, you can definitely increase your energetic capacity and your pranic life force energy. Also, if you see a chiropractor, because aligning the spine keeps your spine attuned. This way your energy flows better, right? Seeing a massage therapist, even acupuncture. So they have different effects depending on what service you're receiving. And this will definitely increase your capacity. It will increase your life force energy too. So all of a sudden you feel recharged. And that's what's so important. So you have to recognize before you go into the burnout stage, you have to recognize that your pranic life force energy is being depleted, because you don't want to wait until it's this much, right? Because then it takes a lot of work to bring that up again. So you want to recognize when you're feeling already you're using it up. Make sure you rest. Rest is really good. the right kind of rest, okay? So making sure you're not having too much chemicals into your system like alcohol or smoking and stuff like that. Medications can also reduce your life force energy. So just be very, very, very conscious of how, what you're eating, what you're doing daily. And this way you can shift your entire being, your entire energetic field, which will also serve yourself, serve your family, serve everybody around you as well. Okay, so I'm hoping this video really helped you. I just want to remind you, I'm extending the 40% off coupon for my course, which is called the Shakti method, where you're actually activating and cleansing your body and increasing your self-awareness. Because if you don't have self-awareness, it's very hard to do these techniques. Without the awareness, you cannot shift your blockages and shift your channels and release these stagnations. So with that practice, so I've created the course so you can actually increase that awareness. It's very simplified technique, so I didn't make it very hard, so you can easily follow me and clear the channels. And then you can have a one-on-one a virtual session with me. It's going to be very exciting, so you get to be with me and I'll work with you, help you through the process. If anything is not working out the way you want to, I can help you out with that. And I have that ability to be able to recognize that block within you, and we can shift and release that block so you can expand to the next level. So typically it's a simple block. It may seem like it's a huge one, but just a little bit of redirecting with your thought process can release that block inside of your body and release a layer of karma that sometimes is layers of karmic layers, not just one layer, and it will help you to get to the next level. Okay, so thank you for watching. So the link is going to be in that description box, and please leave any feedback, any questions you have. That's going to serve me. Thank you so much. Okay.